Hello and welcome back to our blind beer tasting tournament. We've now moved into the quarterfinals. This is the fourth and last quarterfinal. We're down to 4X and ice beer. My lovely assistant has randomly poured them for me to test today, so I'll give you the most unbiased opinion as to which beer I think is the best. Let's get straight into it with beer A. Beer A is it's a nice traditional looking colour, very amber. It's got a low amount of carbonation. It smells quite neutral, not much coming through odour. It doesn't taste too bad. Tastes like it's a mid-strength beer. I know both of these beers are mid-strength beers, but I remember the ice in the qualifier tasted very weak. This one actually tastes quite strong for mid-strength. I'm instantly leaning towards this could be the 4X. Definitely not a dry beer, I don't think, or a crisp. I think it's just a very, very traditional beer. It's got a slight taste of yeast on the palate, but nothing too strong. Because I think this is the 4X just straight off the bat, I'm expecting this beer to be quite weak to taste if it is indeed the ice. If it doesn't taste very icy, and when I mean icy I mean what I think the ice beer should taste like, just from memory, it might be really hard to guess. So let's see what it tastes like. It looks basically the same as this one. I'd say it's more carbonated. It's got no odour. Very weak. This, I hope, is the ice, because it tastes extremely weak. Very easy to drink. It's got a bit of flavour just at the end. The question will be whether the ease of drinking whatever this is makes up for the slight lack of flavour. It's very close. Yesterday's test between the Great Northern and the VB was just harder to drink but had heaps more flavour. This is a lot tighter. They're only just slightly easier to drink but it also is only just missing the flavour that this one has. So I'll have to really think about which one I prefer. Neither of these brands I particularly have any fondness for, so there won't be any pre-existing bias. 4X, which I believe is this one, is probably slightly more popular. That's the only thing that in my mind would swing my judgment, but I don't really care about either of them, so it shouldn't really affect the results. Let's try beer B again. Very easy to drink. Just comes through at the end with a bit of flavour. It's definitely not strong on the palate, but as it works down, it just has a bit of a kick to it, which I think sometimes makes a really good beer. If you can swallow it very nicely and then you get a lot of the flavour. I know that's really not how flavour works, but it's how I can describe it best. It's quite nice. I don't mind this. It's not very strong though. Just going to give it a 7.5. I don't mind it. It's easy to drink. It just has enough flavour to keep you interested, but it's nothing special. Beer A is also very easy to drink. It's pretty cold today, and both of these beers are going down really well. Sometimes the colder it gets, the beer gets a bit hard to drink. But these aren't really noticeable, which I think is indicative of the fact that they are mid-strength light beers. It's a lot easier to drink. The taste is a lot more upfront. Going down, this doesn't have that same aftertaste that this one has, but it's got a lot more taste in the palate, which I think makes it the higher alcohol content beer. I think this is the winner today. I'm probably still going to give it 7.5. Both of these beers are 7.5 out of 10. On my rudimentary judgment scale. Doesn't really mean much. I'll just give it a number out of 10 based on the drinkability of it. So it's not exactly scientific, but here we are. I think it's a winner. I think this is slightly better. Slightly, not even slightly harder to drink. They're basically identical. It just has a lot more flavour up front. Yeah, this one, just missing that nice hit of flavour you're wanting. Both 7 out of 10, both easy to drink, slightly tastier. Let's see what they were. I think this is the 4X, but only because of brand name. In saying that, because it had more flavour, it may also be the stronger beer, which would make it the ice beer. So I'm not real confident on my guesses, but beer A is definitely better. So let's see what we have under the box. I can see the can, but I can't see the number. So the ice beer is beer B. So that is indeed a match. So it was very easy to drink. It's slightly stronger, this beer, but it just doesn't have a lot of flavour. The 4X beer, which was indeed beer A, it had a lot more flavour. It's only one standard drink itself, so it's just snuck into a mid-strength beer by the skin of its teeth. But it's a very mainstream popular beer. And beers only get mainstream and popular because they taste good and because they're marketable and people want to buy them and drink them. So there's a reason why it's a big name beer in Australia. It's because it's good. It's got a lot of flavour, and for its alcohol content, it has a lot of flavour. It's one of the few beers that, as it got weaker, got better really. So I'm not surprised by that. We did guess them correctly, but it was very close. Both of these beers are pretty good. They're basically interchangeable. If it came down to which beer I would drink, they're very similar in taste. To be honest, I'd probably choose which one was cheaper, because you're not getting much more out of the 4X than the ice beer, but you just have to choose which one's cheaper. I guess if it was $10 price difference for a box, you'd go for the cheaper one because you're not getting $10 more flavour. But if they were identical, you might as well go for the 4X because it's slightly better. This is a freaking Queensland beer though. Geez, some Queensland beers got through on my testings. Thanks for joining me today for my beer review. The more popular beer, in my opinion, has won out. It's got a very clean taste, very easy to drink, got a lot of flavour. Very well made beer 4X. There's a reason why at one point it was the most popular beer in Australia. The competitor though, Ice Beer, a relatively no-name brand, pretty good. Nothing bad to say about it. Just missing just that little bit of flavour. But it's quite a strong drink, so it wasn't bad. Let me know if you prefer 4X or Ice Beer, or even if you've even had Ice Beer. I think most people have a prejudice against Ice Beer because it sort of looks like a no beer. I'd be surprised if anyone drinks it and has a high opinion of it. I'd be surprised if anyone who doesn't drink it has a high opinion of it, because it's actually quite nice once you're drinking it. I definitely wouldn't have brought it if it wasn't for this taste test. But if it's on sale, I'd buy it again. Pretty good. That concludes our quarterfinals. Next time we're moving into the semi-finals. Won't be these matchups I've got in front of me. It's a strange mix of beers we've got. A New South Wales beer, which is calling itself a dry. A Victorian beer that's bitter. A Queensland beer that just says it's a lager. And an international beer that I can't read what it thinks it is. It's an extra beer, extra good. All of these beers have different alcohol percentages. 4X is the only mid-strength beer. This is the next strongest at 4.5%, just classifying it a heavy. This is at 4.6, also a heavy. And the VB's at 4.9%. It'll be interesting to see how they go against each other and if I can tell the difference between them all. From now on, I won't be revealing the winner of each matchup because when we get into the grand final, I want to have no idea of what's made it through. I think that'll make viewing better for you guys because you'll be able to see me confused, I guess. I'll have no idea what I'm drinking. I'll have an idea. Generally, I find this beer really easy to drink but still has a lot of flavour. These two were easy to drink but lost a little bit of flavour, and I feel like 4X lost a lot of flavour, but it's the easiest to drink. It'll be interesting to see what I think is what, and what makes it through to the grand final. I'll see you then.